You hear the music. Hello, everybody. I'm Ed Robinson, and welcome to another exciting edition of the League Wraparound. This is the program that gets you caught up on anything and everything happening around the world of the NFL. Coming up on this edition of the program, we'll preview Week 11's most important games. We have your Week 11 game picks, and we'll give you the latest on two Kansas City Chiefs that had their homes burglarized last month. That's right. We'll have more on that just a little bit. All right, as always, I like to start off with my top three storylines. I like to start off talking about the New Orleans Saints. So, the Saints, you know the story, right? A very tough, a very rough, and a tumultuous week for the Who Dat Nation. Dennis Allen was fired after three and a half forgettable seasons as the head coach of the New Orleans Saints. And this was a team that was in desperate need of a morale boost. This was a team that was in desperate need of a confidence boost. And certainly, they got it this week, beating their longtime rival, Atlanta Falcons. Darren Rizzi, the special teams coordinator, now the interim head coach, comes in, and he lit a spark to this team. And I'll be the first to say the Saints looked really good. The offense was really clicking out there. The newest addition to the Saints, MVS, Marquez Valdez-Scantling, he was very impressive out there. MVS, a former Green Bay Packer, also won a Super Bowl with the Kansas City Chiefs, so he's got that experience. And so far, so good. He has the potential to be a cult hero and a cult favorite in the city of New Orleans. Derek Carr was effective, and this team, the Saints, played differently. The Saints played like a team that had nothing to lose. Coming into this game, you had a very long losing streak. You had a 7-game losing streak coming into this game. All sorts of rumblings in the building about Dennis Allen's future, Gail Benson and Mickey Loomis, their loyalty to the team. Well, guess what? Darren Rizzi comes in, and he gave the Saints a shot in the arm, and that was what they needed. And what better way to get a win for Coach Rizzi, get your first career win as an NFL head coach for beating your longtime rival, Atlanta Falcons. But kudos to the New Orleans Saints. Kudos to the Who Dat Nation. They played with a lot of passion. They played with a lot of fire. Will this continue for the remainder of the year? I will say this. We take it one game at a time. But right now, kudos to the New Orleans Saints and kudos to the interim head coach, Darren Rizzi, on getting his first career win as a NFL head coach. My next storyline is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. So the Pittsburgh Steelers have won 4 in a row. Russell Wilson, since he's been the starting quarterback for the Steelers, the offense just flows so much better. The offense, they can get the ball downfield with the passing game, and that opens up doors for the running game. That opens up for running backs like Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren to do what they do best. George Pickens is playing at a high level right now. Pat Freiermuth is playing at a high level right now. And the newest addition to the team at the trade deadline, wide receiver Mike Williams, he scored a touchdown in the Steelers' win over the Commanders. And you talk about one heck of a game with Russell Wilson and the Steelers going up against Jaden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. That wasn't an exciting game. So we talk about in the AFC with the Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills and also the Baltimore Ravens. But we got to talk about the Pittsburgh Steelers as well. Don't sleep on the Steelers. Since Russell Wilson has been the quarterback, the offense is flowing. Is flowing much smoother, and things are just are better with him right now as the quarterback. He's got the experience, and he's been to 2 Super Bowls, and he's won 1. So the Steelers have got something to say. Yeah, the Chiefs are the defending champions, and the Bills and the Ravens, they're playing well, but don't sleep on the Pittsburgh Steelers. And for my last storyline is going to be the Dallas Cowboys. So, with the Cowboys, what else is new, right? The soap opera that just never ends. So, at the end of the loss to the Philadelphia Eagles, Micah Parsons was asked a question about team morale and head coach Mike McCarthy and about McCarthy's future with the team, and he said some things, and one of the things he said, and I paraphrase this, that is above his pay grade. So Micah had mentionings about Coach McCarthy. Cooper Rush laid an egg in the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. Trey Lance came in mop-up duty. And then this week it's found out that Dak Prescott will miss the rest of the season. He's expected to have season-ending surgery, on his hamstring. So, things just continue to go downhill for the Dallas Cowboys. Jerry Jones just continuing to say things that just doesn't be in touch with reality, and Jerry's just continue to be Jerry. Cowboys. It's the soap opera that never ends. It's the soap opera that just continues. And the rest of their schedule, the rest of their remaining schedule is not kind to them. They have a home game on Monday night against Houston. Then they're at Washington. And then there's back-to-back home games against the Giants. And then there's another Monday night game against the Bengals. Then they're at Carolina. Then there's a Sunday night game against the Buccaneers. Then they're at Philly, and then they end the year against Washington. So I'm looking, and honestly, I think Dallas may win one more game. That would be the game against Carolina, but who knows? Anything could happen in the National Football League on any given Sunday. But man, Dallas, what can you say about the Cowboys? The drama never ends with them, and it won't end anytime soon. All right, so before we recap Week 11's most important games, there was a report that happened that recently was released involving two Kansas City Chiefs players having their homes burglarized, that being quarterback Patrick Mahomes and tight end Travis Kelce. Police were called. This report and this information is according to the Kansas City Star. And according to the Kansas City Star, Belton police were called to quarterback Patrick Mahomes' mansion shortly after midnight on October the 6th, which was one day before the Chiefs' Monday Night Football game against the New Orleans Saints. And a Cass County Sheriff's Office report characterized the incident as burglary, breaking, and entering. So the Sheriff's Office has said that it's an ongoing investigation. And the break-in was reported to police by a member of Mahomes' security team. And responding police said there were no signs of forced entry to the home. And then Kelsey's home in Leawood was allegedly broken into shortly after the Chiefs' Monday Night Football victory kicked off. Again, that was the same victory against the New Orleans Saints. And TMZ also reported that $20,000 in cash was taken and the back door was damaged, according to a police document. And his lady, Taylor Swift, was in Kansas City to watch Kelce and the Chiefs play. And days later, the couple was spotted in New York, where they spent a lot of the Chiefs' bye week. So again, Leawood, according to the Leawood Police Department, records show that a burglary was reported around 1:36 a.m. on October the 8th on Kelsey Street in that neighborhood. So again, man, two of the most recognizable stars, not just on that team, but really in the NFL, had their homes burglarized about a month ago. And again, it's a blessing that no one was at the homes when this had taken place, and this would have been a very interesting and could have been a very sad situation had Patrick and his family or closest friends had been at his residence, or if Travis and Taylor and any of their family members and close friends had been at his residence. And we're just grateful and thankful that, first of all, that nobody was hurt, but man, whoever did this, man, they're going to be in some serious trouble, and it's not a good look at all. And certainly, again, just thankful that no one was at those residences and that those gentlemen weren't there and their parties were not there either. All right, so that takes care of that. Now let's recap Week 11's, I should say let's preview Week 11's most important games in the NFL. The Baltimore Ravens square off against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So for Baltimore, last week's victory over the Cincinnati Bengals on Thursday night, impressive win on the offensive side. And for the Pittsburgh Steelers, had an impressive win over the Washington Commanders last week. So Ravens and Steelers, this game is going to be fever pitch in Pittsburgh. You've got a Steelers defense that's looking to go after Lamar Jackson. You've got a Ravens defense that's hoping they can contain Russell Wilson. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to the quarterback play. It's going to come down to Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. Who's going to make the most plays and who's going to make the least turnovers? And it's also going to come down to the defenses. We know Baltimore's defense hasn't been the best this year, but Pittsburgh's defense has been really solid, with T.J. Watt leading the way. And speaking of Pittsburgh's defense, what about Derrick Henry? Can Derrick Henry get the job done and get a touchdown and maybe get close to 100 yards per defense? There's so many storylines in this game, in an AFC North rivalry game with the Baltimore Ravens going up against the Pittsburgh Steelers. We have a long-time NFC North rival game with the Green Bay Packers going up against the Chicago Bears. So let's start off with Green Bay. They had their bye week last week, but the week before that, they lost to their NFC North rival, Detroit Lions. And they look to bounce back as they make the trip to Chicago and go to Soldier Field to take on the Bears. So for Chicago, it's been a wild week for them after being embarrassed by the New England Patriots. Then their offensive coordinator, Shane Waldron, was fired after only one season. So now Thomas Brown is going to be the interim offensive coordinator. We shall see how that's going to work out. But it's just amazing to me that for Shane Waldron to be let go from his job, but Matt Eberflus is still the head coach of the Chicago Bears. I don't understand that one, but hey, who am I to call that one, right? But nevertheless, it's always fun and it's always fascinating when you've got Green Bay and Chicago going up against one another, Packers versus Bears. Truly exciting. And we've got two young quarterbacks with Jordan Love and Caleb Williams going to go at it, and this should be fun in this new chapter in the Packers-Bears rivalry. We have the Seattle Seahawks going up against the San Francisco 49ers. So the Seahawks, they had a bye week last week, but the week before that had a heartbreaking loss in overtime to the Los Angeles Rams. And what has gone on in Seattle with their offense? Kenneth Walker hasn't really been running with that same power and that strength as he had since the beginning of the year. Geno Smith, he's been regressing as of late. I don't know what's going on with him. The offensive line not really protecting him and not opening holes for the running game. Defensively, Seattle, they've let a lot of teams score points on them, and it's not going to get better for them when they go to Santa Clara to take on the San Francisco 49ers. So for the Niners, a big win over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Jake Moody kicks the game-winning field goal. Christian McCaffrey returns from injury. That is big because he's coming back at the right time when the 49ers need a punch in that offense. Remember, Brandon Ayuk, done for the year. but you've got Deebo Samuel, you've got George Kittle, and don't forget about Jawan Jennings, because Jawan has been an X factor for that offense as well. So this is an NFC West rivalry game with the Seahawks and the 49ers. It's always fireworks. It's always fascinating when these two play each other. The Atlanta Falcons will square off against the Denver Broncos. So for the Falcons, tough loss to the New Orleans Saints last week. Younghoe Koo did not kick well at all, and I don't know if if his situation is going to be better. Remember, heading to Denver with the altitude, 5,280 feet above sea level, and I don't know. I think this is going to put pressure on Kirk Cousins and the Falcons offense. I mean, they've put up a lot of points, and they've put up a lot of yards this year, especially on the the running side of things with their running back, Bijan Robinson. And as for the Denver Broncos, tough loss last week to the Kansas City Chiefs. A chance for Will Lutz to kick the game-winning field goal, blocked by Chiefs defender Leo Chenal, and we know how that went, right? The Broncos losing by 2 points. So Sean Payton, he's got it on his mind. He's ready to avenge that loss any way possible. Bo Nix, he's looking to do some damage against a Falcons defense that's been okay this year, and certainly this should be something that he should get a lot of rushing yards. He may get a rushing touchdown in this contest, but it should be a good one in the Mile High City with the Falcons taking on the Broncos. The Kansas City Chiefs square off against the Buffalo Bills. Some people are saying this could be a preview of this year's AFC Championship game. It just might. You never know. Unless Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they may have something to say about that, or maybe Cincinnati, or maybe the LA Chargers. Who knows? But right now, Kansas City and Buffalo. The Chiefs, big win over the Denver Broncos last week. Chiefs defender Leo Chenal blocking the potential game-winning field goal for the Broncos, and the Chiefs remain undefeated. Again, the last several years, even though in the Mahomes, Kelsey, and Reed era, it's always been about the defense the last several years. We've seen the offense, really this year the offense has not had the punch. The offense doesn't really had that knockout game as of yet. But football is the ultimate team sport, and certainly defensively, Kansas City has answered the call the last several years. As for the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo, in an impressive win over the Indianapolis Colts on the road last week. Josh Allen taking command of the offense, doing what he's been doing since he's been the quarterback of the Buffalo Bills. So it's going to be a raucous crowd in Western New York, in Orchard Park to be exact, just outside of Buffalo. And when it's all said and done, it's going to be about the two quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. These two have had some classic games against one another, and this is going to be another chapter in the great rivalry in Patrick Mahomes and Josh Allen, with the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Buffalo Bills. Sunday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals will square off against the Los Angeles Chargers. So for the Bengals, tough loss last Thursday night to the Baltimore Ravens. Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase, they put on a clinic. They put on a masterclass in what quarterbacks and wide receiver duos should do. Unfortunately, they lost by 1 point, and they head to the West Coast to avenge that loss against the Los Angeles Chargers. So for the Chargers, big win over the Tennessee Titans last week, and the Chargers have one of the best defenses in the NFL. And the Chargers have been very quiet this year, and Jim Harbaugh has done a good job in his first year as the head coach of the Chargers. So this was originally supposed to be a late game, a late Sunday afternoon game, but the NBC was able to flex the game, and it's going to be a Sunday night matchup. And I think this is going to be a great one between the Bengals and the Chargers. Two of the quarterbacks being featured in this game, the class of 2020, Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert. Bengals, Chargers, this should be a good one on the West Coast in Inglewood, California. Monday Night Football, the Houston Texans will go up against the Dallas Cowboys. Let's start off with Dallas. A miserable loss to the Philadelphia Eagles. Your quarterback situation is basically done. Dak Prescott is going to have season-ending surgery on his hamstring. So Cooper Rush is looked to be the hope to save what's left of the Cowboys season. As for the Houston Texans, tough loss last week on Sunday Night Football to the Detroit Lions. The first half belonged to them. The second half belonged to Detroit. So C.J. Stroud and company, they look to bounce back and to avenge that loss in this battle of the Lone Star State, the Battle of Texas. The Houston Texans going up against the Dallas Cowboys, two teams that are going in opposite directions. Houston trending up, Dallas is trending down, way down. And it should be an interesting one at Jerry World in Arlington, Texas on Monday night with the Houston Texans going up against the Dallas Cowboys. All right, so that takes care of that. Now it's time for my game of the week. My game of the week is going to be the Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Two quarterbacks, very dynamic and very special in their own way. Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson. One quarterback has won a Super Bowl. One has yet to win one. One quarterback has won multiple league MVPs. The other has not. Both quarterbacks are Pro Bowlers in their own right. Both quarterbacks possess unique playing styles. You got one quarterback that will throw on the run and can throw the deep ball and put it right on the money. You got one quarterback that has arm strength, but he's not afraid to use his athletic ability. It could be a decoy. It could be used as another running back. Lamar Jackson and Russell Wilson are both unique to their teams and to their respective cities. Since Russell's been the quarterback for the Steelers, the offense has moved so much smoother and there's a flow to the offense. Lamar Jackson, since he's been the starting quarterback for the Ravens, his play has been so dynamic, and he's changed a lot of offenses and offensive strategies and schemes for that team, not only getting it done with his arm, but also with his athletic ability. When it's all said and done with the Ravens and the Steelers, you know this rivalry for a long time has been hard-hitting, no-nonsense, take no prisoners, and all about stifling defenses. But this particular game, I think, is going to come down to offenses and points being scored, where we have the quarterbacks that will take center stage. Lamar Jackson, Russell Wilson. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. My game of the week. All right, before we get on out of here, I'm going to give you my picks on who I think will win Week 11's most important games. The Baltimore Ravens versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. I like Baltimore to win. The Green Bay Packers versus the Chicago Bears. I like Green Bay to win. The Seattle Seahawks versus the San Francisco 49ers. I like San Francisco to win. The Atlanta Falcons versus the Denver Broncos. I like Atlanta to win. The Kansas City Chiefs versus the Buffalo Bills. I like Kansas City to win. Sunday Night Football, the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Los Angeles Chargers. I like the LA Chargers to win. Monday Night Football, the Houston Texans versus the Dallas Cowboys. I like Houston to win. So again, my picks are Baltimore, Green Bay, San Francisco, Atlanta, Kansas City, LA Chargers, and Houston. And that's it. And that's going to do it for another exciting edition of the program. And once again, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to be with us on the program. It's always a pleasure coming to you week in and week out, giving you the best information, the best news as best as we can related to the NFL. Till next time, everybody, I'm Ed Robinson saying so long, you take care, and enjoy the games.
Hey everybody, thank you so much for tuning into the channel. Remember to click like, share, and subscribe, and thank you for watching.